How could someone live a double life, seamlessly blending into society as a devoted family man while secretly carrying out horrific crimes? This is the story of Richard Kuklinski, infamously known as the Iceman. As a hitman for organized crime families, Kuklinski is believed to have murdered over 200 people during his career. But what drove this seemingly ordinary man to such extraordinary brutality? And how did forensic science finally expose his chilling deeds? Richard Leonard Kuklinski was born in Jersey City, New Jersey, on April 11th, 1935. His childhood was a nightmare of abuse and neglect. His father, Stanley, was a violent alcoholic who routinely beat Richard and his siblings. His mother, Anna, was equally harsh, often using physical punishment as discipline. Richard experienced a childhood of relentless fear, humiliation, and pain. His older brother, Florian, died under suspicious circumstances after a beating from their father, a tragedy swept under the rug as an accident. This environment of violence and secrecy shaped Richard into someone who learned early on that emotions were dangerous and survival required control. By the time Kuklinski was a teenager, he had already begun exhibiting violent tendencies. At just 14, he killed a neighborhood bully who had tormented him for years. Richard bludgeoned the boy to death with a thick wooden pole and disposed of the body in a nearby river. This act gave him a sense of power and control he had never felt before. It marked the beginning of a lifelong career of violence, one that he would refine with chilling precision. As Kuklinski entered adulthood, he became increasingly involved in criminal activities. His towering physique, standing at 6 feet 5 inches and weighing over 300 pounds, made him an intimidating presence. In the 1950s, he began working for the DeCavalcante crime family in New Jersey, and later expanded his services to other organized crime groups, including the Gambino family. His connections to mob bosses like Roy DeMeo brought him opportunities to prove his skills as a contract killer. Kuklinski's methods were as varied as they were brutal. He used firearms, knives, explosives, and even cyanide. Cyanide became his weapon of choice due to its potency and the difficulty of detecting it during autopsies. He would lace food or drinks with the poison or spray it directly onto his victims. One of Kuklinski's most chilling tactics involved freezing his victims' bodies to obscure the time of death, a method that earned him the nickname the Iceman. By freezing the corpses and later disposing of them, he complicated forensic investigations, making it difficult for authorities to establish a timeline or link him to the crimes. This method also revealed his cold, calculated approach to murder, treating each killing as a technical problem to solve rather than an emotional act. Despite his violent career, Kuklinski maintained the facade of a loving husband and father. In 1961, he married Barbara Pedrizzi, and together they had 3 children. To his neighbors in suburban New Jersey, Kuklinski appeared to be an ordinary family man who enjoyed hosting barbecues, attending church, and supporting his children's school events. Barbara, however, later revealed that Richard's behavior behind closed doors was far from idyllic. He was controlling, physically abusive, and prone to sudden fits of rage. Still, she and their children had no idea about his double life as a contract killer. His ability to separate his personal and criminal lives was astonishing and played a significant role in his ability to evade suspicion for so long. In the early 1980s, law enforcement began to notice a pattern of unsolved murders connected by one unusual detail. The victims appeared to have been frozen post-mortem. These cases caught the attention of the New Jersey Attorney General's office and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which launched Operation Iceman. The operation aimed to gather evidence linking Kuklinski to these murders. Investigators focused on several key cases, including the disappearance of Paul Hoffman, a pharmacist who had planned to buy stolen prescription drugs from Kuklinski, and the murder of Louis Masquet, whose body was discovered in 1983. Masquet's case provided a breakthrough in the investigation. Although his body was badly decomposed, forensic pathologists noticed something unusual. Ice crystals were present in the tissue. This suggested that the body had been frozen after death, a detail that matched Kuklinski's known methods. Forensic scientists also discovered that Masquet had been killed months before his body was found, but the freezing process had preserved key evidence that linked him to Kuklinski. This finding was critical as it provided investigators with a unique signature that they could tie directly to the suspect. Another critical element of the investigation was the undercover work of Agent Dominic Polifrone, who posed as a mobster looking to hire Kuklinski for a hit. Over 18 months, Polifrone gained Kuklinski's trust, recording conversations in which Kuklinski described his methods in chilling detail. These recordings not only provided evidence of Kuklinski's involvement in multiple murders, but also revealed his calculated approach to killing. During these conversations, Kuklinski boasted about his use of cyanide and explained how he could kill without leaving a trace. His calm demeanor and matter-of-fact descriptions of murder underscored his lack of empathy and deep-seated detachment from human life. On December 17, 1986, Kuklinski met with Polifrone to discuss the details of a planned murder. Immediately after the meeting, he was arrested. A search of his home yielded firearms, cyanide capsules, and other incriminating evidence. The arrest marked the end of Kuklinski's reign of terror, but his trial would captivate the nation. Prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence during Kuklinski's trial, including the undercover recordings, forensic findings, and testimonies from surviving family members of his victims. The discovery of ice crystals in Mazgay's body was particularly damning, as it provided a direct link to Kuklinski's signature method of freezing his victims. Kuklinski's defense argued that he was merely boasting to impress Polyphrone, and that much of the evidence was circumstantial. However, the jury was unconvinced. In 1988, Kuklinski was convicted of multiple murders and sentenced to consecutive life terms in prison. While incarcerated, Kuklinski participated in several interviews, offering chilling insights into his psyche. He spoke calmly about his crimes, describing them with a level of detachment that underscored his lack of empathy. Psychologists who analyzed Kuklinski suggested that his abusive childhood played a significant role in the development of his antisocial personality disorder. This condition, characterized by a disregard for the rights of others and a lack of remorse, was evident in his actions and demeanor. The case of Richard Kuklinski highlights the crucial role of forensic science and strategic law enforcement in solving complex cases. Techniques such as forensic pathology, behavioral profiling, and audio surveillance were instrumental in bringing him to justice. The discovery of ice crystals in Mazgay's body not only linked Kuklinski to the murder, but also showcased the power of forensic analysis in uncovering hidden truths. Additionally, the undercover operation led by Polyphrone demonstrated the importance of persistence and creativity in dismantling criminal networks. Kuklinski remained in prison until his death in 2006, but his story continues to fascinate criminologists, psychologists, and true crime enthusiasts alike. It serves as a stark reminder of the duality of human nature and the lengths to which some individuals will go to conceal their darkest secrets. How could someone so cold and calculating maintain the illusion of normalcy for so long? And what can we learn from his story to prevent similar tragedies in the future?